This time I'd like to bring the drainage board meeting to order. Approval of the February 3rd minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The mayor's report.
Yes, we, John Law and Dee and I got together and we put 16 people back on.
Yeah, I thought there, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just looking at, some of them had some high expenses, but others have been on for a long, long time, so we adjusted all of that, so that's there. That's all we have on that one.
Mr. Contractors.
Oh, that's my, I just wanted to look at it. All right. So that's all on that sheet there. I don't think we have any other bigger things this week from the contractor. That's right.
Payment contract as presented.
A second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Encroachment into the drainage easement permit.
Yeah, so these were submitted with my name on them. I'm aware that they had my name on it. Submitted for improvements to Huckleberry right away, Gordon right away. Understanding is that the amount of feet from the top of the creek bank that we need to submit for improvement. The improvements will be improvement of the soil and then stripping of the topsoil that's there and then adding stone to make those drivable right ways.
So is this along the Rogers Clark as well as the MJ Lang, which is the Gordon Road? So if there's maintenance needs to be done on the ditches, and you're gonna put some like a aggregate sort of base surface?
Huckleberry will be asphalt from State Road 2 to about halfway to Gordon to the south, and stone from there to Gordon. Gordon will be just improving that existing 2-track with a better stone base.
Well, this is on the road that's existing now.
It's an existing county right away, yes.
So you're, so the MJ Lang, you're going to improve Gordon Road itself? So that's the south side of it. So any maintenance, of course, we just had that done last spring, a year ago. On the MJ Lang, we could still do from the north side then, that's unchanged. I'm just, where I'm headed with all this is if the ditches need to be cleaned, spoilage taken out, where's the spoilage gonna go? I mean, in the past, we've just went along the ditch and put it right behind the machine or right next. We did it within the 75 foot.
I think last year they did that from the north side of the creek, which
Yes.
is still accessible.
That will still be accessible. So then the only one in question could be the Rogers Clark from Gordon Road going north. There'll be stone surface there, so
Stone and asphalt.
stone and asphalt.
How far is the asphalt from the top of the ditch?
As far as horizontally, you're saying?
Yeah, ditch bank, and then how far out is the asphalt?
I hesitate to throw a number out there. It's in the right of way of the Huckleberry Road.
Okay, so it's fairly close, then 5, 6 feet,
How far?
5, 6 feet, 5,
At least that, it's more than that. We did submit for right of way permits to improve the
Yeah.
roads as well, but stuff like this, others permit that had paid for that.
Yeah, I think it's a little thing for our attorney to jump into. You have the date of September 27th, 04 down toward the bottom and then up on top, and then approximately start date 10/1/24. Is that a big issue?
You modify your start and end dates based on
Which permit is that?
the permit for the
This is for the,
Huckleberry.
yeah, Rogers Pitch, Rogers Park.
Huckleberry has already been approved. When we pulled our right of way permit, we were told we were good to go. And then we were told later on that this permit had to be pulled as well because of proximity to the ditch.
Okay.
Or not that approved.
Do you contemplate doing additional work there? You got an end date 2030 on here.
I think that was just as long as we would need that to be in place till we could restore it to its original condition. And remove our improvements.
I guess maybe I misunderstood her. Another question brought up here, but on the Rogers Clark 60-foot encroachment, it's gonna be asphalt and stone. So if there's maintenance needs to be done on it, spoilage would be put where?
You have to give you access to that. I don't think you can access the other side of that creek.
the problem is we can't get it from the west side, because there's a fence and.
I
Really have
believe there's
to-
room to do it from the west side.
Huh?
Well, I'm sorry, what was?
The Rogers Clark cannot be accessed from the west side. So everything's gotta be done from the east side.
Yes.
Right.
But that's where they wanna put the asphalt and the stone.
Yeah, that's why I asked how far from the edge of the ditch the asphalt was gonna be. You know, if we got room for an excavator through there.
Okay,
You would have to use the Huckleberry right away.
okay.
We'd have to divert traffic to make that happen.
So would the spoilage have to be hauled away or?
Yeah.
Cause you're gonna have. Okay. That's just an additional cost for maintenance and if and when that becomes.
Yeah. And if there's some sort of maintenance plan, maintenance agreement with you guys to keep the brush down from the west bank, from the east bank. Then, you know, we wouldn't have to get in there hardly at all. Unless the ditch filled in with sediments and things, but, you know, ideally, all the constructions take care of that, cause it's silt fence and all that, they don't allow anything in, so. I mean, as long as the brushes keep kept off that east bank. And the you know, the ditch is open. I don't see a whole lot of maintenance needed. 20 years down the road, I don't know what it's like.
So. Spoilage would have to be hauled away. When the maintenance is done on excavating the bottom of the Rogers Clark ditch.
Mhm.
So is that spoilage, does it need to be hauled off of the Amazon site? Or would there be a place to put the spoilage within the site? The Amazon property,
Probably depend on time,
pardon me?
probably depend on timing. Like right now, there's plenty of room on the south side of the campus to put spoilage. But once later down the road, when that property is developed also, you probably left all in offsite.
So do we need to think about doing maintenance on it once now, just have a start point?
Yeah, it'd be helpful, and then that way that all they have to do is maintain it brush wise. And it'd be good to get it done before they get the asphalt down, cause
Yeah,
I hate to see an excavator run across that new asphalt.
that's where I'm going.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna cost more down the road to do it, but right now.
Brian did it. I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was, so I guess we could get her done, yeah. Is that all right? We put a contract out to clean the Rogers Clark? While you guys are in there working?
Fine with us, or if you want us to maintain it, we can, you know, as far as debrushing it, we can talk about that too, but.
I'll get with you guys afterwards, but we'll get that ditch done before you guys get the asphalt and everything going out there, so we don't have to worry about that once the asphalt's down.
The asphalt is down already,
Oh, is this?
yes, but it's throwaway asphalt, it's just for logistical use, so we're not damaging the asphalt is not a concern.
Okay.
It's temporary.
Then now's the time to do it. Yep, okay.
So can we make this, can we approve it contingent on Wall Bridge / AWS debrushing and doing the maintenance on the ditch
We can,
this spring or sometime? So that it's done and if there's place to put the spoilage on site right now. So that gives us a start point and then we worry about it later. That makes.
After 2030, does all of this come out and back to normal maintenance?
Sounds like. The asphalt that's there now and that stone improvement will come out. But you know, there's still design work being done on what that permanent Huckleberry looks like. I think, you know, I think there's other conversations happening on how that looks when the project is complete. I know that current design shows that drive loop further away from the ditch.
yeah, that's why I asked, just, you know, cause the worst case, we'd have to get an excavator down between the top of the ditch and your asphalt. And if you're using curbs and all that, that'll make it real difficult down the road, so. So I'll work with these guys and
We
figure out.
want to do the Rogers Clark from Gordon Road North to State
Do it
Road
all.
2. Or we're gonna
Gordon
do
to
the whole
2.
way. Rogers Clark then gonna dump into the MJ Lang and that water go east, or are we gonna have it continue straight south?
I think we'd want it to go east, down along the way, the Lane, MJ Lane.
Well, that would be my preference. Yeah, that seems the way it wants to.
We'd have to turn that corner then, if the water's going that way, but
I
that's
think
not a
that's the
problem.
way it's flowing right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we'll make the permit, we'll approve the permit contingent. Wall Bridge AWS, we'll do the maintenance on MJ, Rogers Clark, from Gordon Road up to State Road 2.
Is that good with you guys?
Prior to them putting hard surface down.
Yeah, he said
Does that
that.
make sense?
Clarified maintenance, when you mean maintenance, you mean maintaining the
Well,
brush and
I'm saying. Brush the
bank.
banks, both sides of the banks, and then with a ditching bucket excavator dip spoilage out of the ditch.
You want us to clean the ditch to do the
That'd be
spoilage?
all on you guys.
Just have to make sure that Albridge or AWS can do that if it's a permanent activity or what that looks like as far as permitting. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It just, we have to make sure that we have the proper permits to do that. If that's approved by the drainage board, then I don't know if that's. an
Yeah,
issue.
I think he's talking more along the lines of IDNR, IDEM, Army Corps. When he says permits, though those, the agencies. I mean, our permit would be fairly easy. I'd work with you guys and just make them the contractor, but. I think they're more concerned with, you know, the state and federal agencies.
Are they more subject to that than us doing it as a drainage board? Having a contractor come in and do it?
The agencies look at their entire project. Where we just look at the ditch cleaning. So if they would add ditch cleaning or whatever to their project. You know, they'd have to consider revising the state permit, the DNR.
For reference, for our outfall permit, our permanent outfall permit, that process was over a year for IDEM.
So this could, if you did it, this could be subject to that versus the drainage board doing it?
They'd have to check.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that, but I would think so. I think we'd at least have to check, so it would have the potential to go very long into the future if. We'd be happy to grant access or do it under the drainage board with your maintenance contractor.
Or can we have our maintenance contractor just build Wallbridge or AWS?
I don't know the answer to that. I have to look at, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know legality wise there if that would still put the permit under us and we'd have to go through the permit process.
easiest if they just contributed to the county. Their own contract.
Well, I guess where I'm going at it, once again, all this, it'd just be nice to do maintenance before hard surface went down. Then we're good for a while.
Well, I mean, the hard surface is already down, it sounds like, and they're pulling it out in 2030. So, I mean, if y'all aren't gonna move the road far enough away from the ditch, this is gonna become a permanent issue. And you're gonna have to talk with Army Corps and IDAM and everybody else and get your ducks in a row. Because at the end of the day, you pour a road down there, we need to clean it, so we'll destroy your road.
Understood.
I mean, there's really only two parties involved.
It's us and them.
Well, us and them, and then Navistar on the west side of the ditch. That's the
I
area.
don't see where they would have any skin in that game. So I will work with you guys and we'll figure out something to get it maintained here as quick as we can.
Yeah, and we'd be happy to have you out. We can walk it, take a look at it, see what maintenance is needed. And work a plan to how we perform that maintenance.
Okay. That good?
They probably didn't think about it. It's okay. Coverage.
Make a motion to approve the easement encroachment subject to maintenance being done in St. Joe County Drainage Board working with Waldridge or AWS to help cover the cost of the maintenance. This is on the Rogers Clark.
I'll second that.
Motion been made, seconded, all in favor,
All right,
opposed, motion carried.
I don't think there's a whole lot to do. It's just I think we have to go down through there and clean it up. I think.
Lane, same thing, or what's on that one?
The lane is kind of asphalted. You can use either side of that ditch to maintain it.
and what you're asking for here today of the 60-foot encroachment would be on the south side of the MJ lane. And we just did maintenance on it last spring. Did that from the north side, and the north side's still gonna be available for maintenance, so. It's no issue.
Plus you said 60 feet away, right?
Utilizing the existing Gordon Road right away. So there are areas of that that are right along the top of the bank within 10 feet, I would say. And then that right away kind of, as you go to the west, that right away kind of moves further and further away from the ditch. So on the west side, I would say you're maybe closer to 60 feet from the ditch.
You'll still have to go back to its precondition state October 2030. So the plan.
If we need to, I mean, it would just making the existing two-track more suitable for vehicle traffic. So I don't think it really needs to be restored at the end. It's just additional stone that's going down to make that.
You're gonna improve it.
Yes.
Yeah, better leave the improvements there. Thank you. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve this as presented.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Water and discharge permit.
I believe this is ours for the dewatering discharge of the district permit for Nespasani. We're requesting an extension of our current permit that expires on March 15th to continue our work associated with utility installation on the IEC 3 site.
And this is for the current dewatering discharge permit that's on the northern part of the site.
Yes.
It's currently in operation.
Yes.
There's no additional waters or anything, no changes really to that, you're just extending out the date.
Yes.
Okay. That will probably take everything into the farming season, but I know they've been working with the biggest landowner downstream with all that, and they're working that out. So, you know, that may not be a biggest issue as it was last year, I guess. If that makes sense.
Downstream south of Johnson Road, so they're in the railroad tracks.
Yeah, I know, I think they had I think Brian said private meeting or something with him, and they're working out something on that. I'm not quite sure what all that entails, but
So there's ongoing discussion with landowners about the Blue culvert pertaining to that. Is that correct?
There's discussion, but I think it should be made clear that we will not, Walbridge will not do anything without approval of the drainage board on any ditch.
we're not, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess want to make aware that they are working with
Yeah.
guys downstream.
Make the motion to approve the extension.
I'll second it, but I do have a question, sorry. This Angelo, is you guys in some form of fashion? I'm sorry, sir, what is your name?
I'm Lee Fitzgerald with Walbridge.
Okay. You will now. Provide a great description. Okay. And then the discharge, volume or rate is the same as we already previously permitted, is that what I'm hearing?
That's what's being requested, yes.
We've already approved that, the 1.4 million gallons per hour.
And I think they have either Walbridge or IFRAD has been monitoring the discharge if they're not. I've been told they're not. What?
Roughly 600,000 gallons an hour.
Yeah.
And they've been sending over reports. I attempted to print this for you guys, but it came out 200 data points right there, so you can't read it.
Oh,
So, yeah, I can flip it over and put it on a couple of pages so it'll be readable.
they're pumping or discharging roughly half or 2/3 of what you pass permitted for.
Roughly half, yeah.
Well, considerably less than what.
And they aren't running all the pumps either, right? I can't read it, but there was like 12 pumps and 8 pumps, and they're only running one section, I guess. Is that correct?
Those are the emails that we're getting, I think, weekly. We just add them. Add them to that.
I could do that too. That'd be my
Unless you want him to print that out for you.
As long as it's being monitored, that's recorded.
So the change is on the big change here is on the date.
That's correct.
We extended it from what When was it and what's it? It's March of 26 and it was what?
I think it was March of this year.
15/25 is the expiration.
So they were supposed to be done before the.
So
summer
they're
season.
actually
Now they're going
asking for 12-month extension.
through the farm season.
And we don't see a problem with crops or anything out there relative to doing it for another year.
That's always in spring.
Depending on the spring and the rain events, but once again,
Do you need all 1.452 million gallons an hour? When I looked at the report, it doesn't seem like you guys have ever pumped that much. Do you anticipate an increase in your pumping?
No, but I think like it was just mentioned, if we get a severe rainfall, I'm not exactly sure what potential that would have to increase our discharge. So we've been very steady, or consistent over the last few months at 600 to 700,000 gallon per hour, but that's during frozen conditions. We're not seeing, if we were to get 2 inches of rain, I'm not sure what that would do to that discharge over a couple day period. That's the reason for the request.
I guess I personally think 2 inches wouldn't really affect it, but start getting north of 2 inches up to 6 or something, just extremely heavy rain event, then
And I think we've also been under the, operating with the understanding that if there were some significant rainfall and we had to turn our dewatering off to prevent damages to others, then we're aware of that and we would comply with that.
but we made a motion and been seconded.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, motion carried.
And Lee, I'll send you an email over and get together and.
Happy to have you out. Take a look at this.
I guess if since Randy's a farmer down, you'd be welcome too, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Anyone who want to be included.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So meet with them and look at the, Rogers Clark.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, where we want to set it up.
Set that up with me. Okay, make it happen.
Perfect, thanks, guys.
Camp Bell crossover urban drain station.
Yeah, you know about this, it started under Bobby.
I don't know.
Is that, I don't recall that, we discussed last year at all.
Is somebody here for Campbell's crossover?
I guess. During the board's gotta set a date for a public hearing to Campbell's crossover wants to be an urban drain, so there's gonna have to be a public hearing set
So they're petitioning for the drainage board to take it over.
as an urban.
Be
drain.
under our
Correct.
maintenance then. So then they need to set a, like you just said, a date
Public hearing date.
for the public hearing date. That would then be for the landowners or
That would be,
property owners within that.
Yeah.
Urban drain,
and then that's when you
Set that date if
guys,
we wanna take it over.
pardon me.
We would set that date if we want to take it over. It's a question, I mean, listen, I don't know anything about this, usually they're here to tell you all what they want to do, but apparently they want us to take it over as urban drain. But it might be premature if you guys haven't looked at the parcels, you don't know the subdivision, you don't know the streets, you don't know what it feeds into. So I
Yeah,
would recommend you table it. until-
John's not been out to look at it or Mr. Surveyor.
Have we done this kind of stuff in the past?
Yeah,
We
no,
don't-
new subdivisions, it's pretty typical, but usually we see the plan and what's proposed.
right, and then when it comes to you, it's at a public hearing, they'll come here, you guys will look at it. Setting a maintenance fund for each lot, that maintenance route, amount, or there's not enough lots in the subdivision to cover maintenance, added into, watershed, greenkeeper, whatever. And that's what that public hearing is for.
Yeah, they have 7 lots.
And if we stay consistent, 7 lots, $20 a lot a year, that's what, $210? You know, you can't unload a lawn tractor for that.
But at this time, we need somebody from the Campbell's crossover urban drain to come and present this to us and
Right, you
answer
just
questions.
need to make a decision on if you wanna do it, what you're gonna include, and if it's gonna be zone up to or something else, what you're gonna set the assessment, the annual assessments at, right? And then we need to push notice in the hearing. So public can come, give us feedback, how much y'all wanna do.
And I wanna go out there and look at all that, or talk to this dude first. or-
We'll need to talk to the developer when it comes through area plan and, you know, do all that.
Okay,
Plan.
I think much we table this. Pending further information, direction from the surveyor.
Second that.
Motion made, cited to table the urban drain petition. All in favor,
Aye.
opposed, motion carried.
Um. There's the report in front of you guys. That's just kind of the yearly. What the drainage board contractors and the amount of ditches and the amount of money we spent. Last year. I do that every year, so.
similar to the years past. Or has it been higher or lower, 24?
This is the highest it's been in the last 2 years. Well, 3 years because of COVID. So we're starting to ramp back up and getting projects going.
That's why we put all those properties back on the list.
Well, that had to be done anyway.
Right. All the private cases.
Yeah, that had to be.
A lot of work there.
So this is the most work that we've done in a year?
The last couple of years, probably since COVID.
For the most money we spent to have this work done?
Yeah, probably pretty close.
Well, cost.
I mean, I can pull all the old from, previous years, but that seems to be higher than I can remember the last several years.
But that's higher based on the size and scope of the work that was completed.
Right.
Cost being higher.
Right. And a couple bigger projects like the 2-stage ditches and things like that, so.
So do we need to approve this or is this for our information?
I put it in there for it, FYI.
Tape it on your fridge in the office.
Take that under consideration.
Good job, buddy. A lot of work.
Thank you.
Well, total, we spent about 1.5 million.
Um,
684, 5,
yeah,
684.
There are a couple of things on here, like the gas. Might wanna look.
What was the comment?
Gas, I mean, look, it's got an empty balance of -$112,000. But if I want to-
Yes,
oh, yeah, the gas is the upper end of the Rogers ditch, which is private ditch association. There was a concrete head wall, a concrete head wall where the water comes over off a grass waterway into the open ditch that completely failed. So they had to be rebuilt, and that's where the big cost came in. Right now, I don't see where that ditch is gonna need any more work. So, and then the other,
And didn't we just get a grant or something from the gas station was approved for 20.
Well, that's a gas ditch. He's talking, did you say gas or gas?
Yes.
Okay, I beg your pardon. The gas ditch, yeah, we did that two-stage ditch. It was whatever $1,000. It was a grant from the DNR. We submitted the paperwork and they sent us $100,000 check. And then we made up the difference. So
So is that
I don't have that in front of me, so
$100,000 is it probably isn't on there, we're showing.
100,000 in the red.
Showing 112,000 in the red.
Okay, yeah, we have a check, Derek went and asked for it at the common council to release that since it comes to the county. But we got that $100,000 check, it just hasn't been applied to the fund yet. So
When did that go toward the account? I thought they approved that.
they approved releasing the check. But I don't
So is
know.
that, it's up to Murphy to look that up?
We'll make sure that those funds, yeah.
Okay, I'll send them some. Them or so.
But yeah, 112,000 was actually only 12,000.
There's the rest.
Max, you out of the park district when the crew comes in with a handout and stuff?
Good morning, my name is Deborah Durrell, 21677 Auten Road. Thank you for hearing me speak today. Without prejudice to the truly stellar work that you all are doing here, and I have been very supportive of this board in the past. I still think it is morally repugnant what Amazon is doing with our land use, especially the wetlands and the streams. To buy mitigation credits to be sold to another place at another unknown time instead of trying to preserve our wetlands and our forests. Today is World Wildlife Day. And so in honor of that, I'd like to call your attention to the first few pages of the packet that I've been giving you to make the point that most people do not feel that eroding the rainforest and habitat of a keystone species like the orangutan qualifies as the kind of building most people support. While we don't have orangutans here, I do want to make the point that we do have another sentinel species, which are our amphibians. And there have been a couple of excellent articles in the Tribune recently about research being done on these at the Lighted Bog, right in the vicinity of this project, and how the development, including the roads and the easements that we are minimizing, and the noise and all of the wetlands that we are filling in, is eroding the habitat of that sentinel species, which is related to our own well-being. And then lastly, I want to call your attention to a solution. Apparently, Philadelphia and Portland, Oregon are taking a look at something called circular economics. And of course, this is showing up mostly in the EU right now, under the auspices of Amsterdam leading the way on this. And there are ways that we can do better to build both a healthy economy and a healthy ecosystem. So I want to appeal to whatever agency you have as decision makers to keep this in mind and try to raise the bar that we can do development. We can provide green jobs instead of the kinds of jobs and the kinds of development we are doing to erode our pristine wetlands and some of the other properties that are being taken over.
In the back of this, right, did you include the study the state did about, was there other counties of, we are about 2,000 acres behind where we should be in open space and all that stuff.
I did not include that in there, but that is something that several of us have spoken to, and it is relevant. So yes, thank you.
Okay, very good.
Do you have an extra one of those handouts?
I don't right now. Actually, I apologize for the quality of some of the prints. The printer was running out of ink, so I had to get out my crayons. And I will be providing
Okay.
copies at the county council next week. If you're interested. Thank you.
Lee, I'll get you guys one too.
Hello, my name is Brian Will. I live at 52484 Hickory Road in Granger. We all want a state with a high quality of life to attract workers, young doctors, educators, researchers, and companies of the future. And quality of life includes protecting natural areas. For this reason, I wish to express my support for protecting the wetlands in and around the Amazon property and the natural streams. Wetlands are home to life that we cannot replace. Ecosystems that, when impacted, affect other ecosystems. The birds, the amphibians, mammals all need a voice, and that's why I'm here today. Progress takes many forms, doesn't have to be another building or another parking lot or another mall or another road. Progress can look like making a decision to protect life. We have already given, as a county, so much to Amazon, huge amounts of electricity, as much as all the solar that's production in the state. It's going to Amazon in just these plants, huge amounts of water and land. We are already experiencing a price for that in terms of traffic and congestion. Soon we'll see higher electricity prices and a longer dependence on dirty coal power. Let's not give them our few remaining wetlands. Thank you.
Morning, Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. Thank you for your work. I appreciate you guys. You can tell you guys really consider what's in front of you. Something that today that came up that catches my attention is the dewatering. Back middle of last year, the Board of Commissioners, which Derek was a member at the time, agreed to a 24 million gallon daily withdrawal cap from the aquifer. And at that time, there were two, one for an attenuation tank, the other for the lift station along Larison Road. Between the two of them, they were discharging 27 million gallons per day between the two of them. Commissioners agreed that if we go over 24 million gallons per day, we'll sit down with all involved parties, which is me, resident, the developers, farmers, and anybody who has an interest in the water running through there. Believe me, you don't want me not taking a shower. You've got to keep my water coming. At that point, we were over the 24 million gallon cap, and I spoke to Carl Baxmeyer, the president of the Board of Commissioners, and said, we're over the cap. So are we going to sit down now and talk about what course of action we're taking since we've exceeded the cap? And he said, well, no, that's why we're doing this during the winter months, because Randy doesn't have to water his crops. The farmers aren't watering what they're growing at the time. He says, this is the best time to do this. Now today we come and we've approved more dewatering. I don't know how much of that, the attenuation tank, I know the one on Early and Walnut Road is no longer running at this point. I was just by there yesterday. But we're bringing others on board, which now Randy's going to start watering his crops. Brent and Chantel are going to start watering their crops. That is that drain which we weren't having during the winter months. I'm concerned we're going to be talking about rationing here if we continue flushing all this water out to build things on. And particularly what my friends just talked about, we're going to permanently fill a wetlands area and permanently impact the habitat of protected species, possibly protected species. And just, green things. The environmental stuff is out of my realm, but I understand what they're talking about. You can't keep taking away the habitat for these things and not pay some price down the road. And I'm afraid the price down the road for these dewatering permits is going to be a rationing, not a rationing by price. They'll say, we'll give you all the water you want, Dan, but if you go over what we say you need per day, you're gonna pay extra for that. Thank you.
Just to comment on that, good point, Dan, about the irrigation wells. I've thought about that. I believe punctuation tank to the north, on the northern Amazon property, that was an HRP. Whoever asked for that, that's either near completion or maybe has stopped. It's,
I think the dewatering for that has been shut off, if I remember correctly.
yeah, so I mean,
I believe that's the one that was going into the ditch right off Early Road,
correct,
just west of Walnut.
correct.
It's not, I was just by there yesterday. It's not running.
Okay, so that's stopped or shut off.
And the way I understand it, that won't be will not be turned back on.
So those dewatering permits were for construction. The construction is coming to completion. Some of this is being shut off. At least that particular one sounds like. So if they need to do more, they're gonna have to come to us to.
But more is coming on here today.
Yeah, so to their point, the AWS Wallbridge, I've been monitoring that, and the south end of their property is the MJ Lang ditch, which runs parallel to Ford Road. When I do my drive-by Sunday mornings or whatever along Strawberry Road, that is one of my stops to look at the culvert. The water's coming down to MJ Lang and discharging into the Nespadjani right there. And that flow is just constantly there. Now, is that flow up or down from what it would be had the dewatering not been going on? Well, I don't know. But point being, there's still water flowing into MJ Lang into the Nespadjani. And there's no dewatering discharges at this point into the MJ Lang. To me, it's just all natural drainage. So, a lot of water in that aquifer. And
I know you're watching it.
yeah. So, but also if a resident or any wells outside near this whole project, if their residential wells would have an issue, we would certainly like to know about it. So, and at this time, I've not heard of anything. So,
I believe there's one. I know of one that I believe HRP has agreed to sink their well deeper for them. They're having pressure problems.
yeah. Well, it sounds like they worked it out.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I guess that's just my comments.
I agree, it'd be good to know, but also that's really not our jurisdiction. We're
No,
just
it's-
dealing with the water that's being dumped into the drainage ditches.
Right.
Whether they ditches can handle it. You know, so how much is coming out of the ground really isn't our jurisdiction.
I agree with you, John. It'd be good to know, but yeah. So. Just a comment.
Good morning, Brent Burkus, 58995 Mayflower Road, South Bend. Reason for this request is, it kind of dovetails on what we're already talking about. But on the other side, from New Carlisle going towards the city, we've experienced a lot of issues of contaminants coming out of the city. Specifically in August of 2023, there was a no contact order. The city, their position is that this is quote, recreational water, when in fact it's our drinking water. If you go out to our farm and you examine the Dixon Place ditch, which is not recovered since the no contact order, it's dead. But you go out in Dixon Place ditch and you look at the water in Dixon Place ditch, and then you look at any of the streams that feed into that off of our farms. Our farm water off the streams is completely clear. You can see the bottom of the ditches, it's good water. You look in the Dixon Place ditch, it's cloudy, it's full of soot. Some days it's high, some days it's low. So reason disappearance is to request the drain board look into what's going on over there with the city. What are they doing? Are they turning things on? Why are they dumping that in there? The original intent for that whole area back in the day, and Randy, you know more this more than I do, was that it would be jacketed cooling water would be the only discharge fluids coming out of the city. That would be suitable for irrigation water. The pond on the very end of Culvert used to be pristine. Now it's not. It's a source of contaminants. So, again, in the age of WOTUS and what we're dealing with here, we're not getting any answers out of the city. So I'd request the drain board take a look into this, because at one time, everybody was on board and there was no issues with the water. Somewhere along the way, that's migrated and now we've got issues.
There's still a lawsuit pending?
There is an active lawsuit pending as well. I can't talk
Is
about
that
that.
through IDEM?
Say again,
Is that through IDEM or through you guys?
my neighbor,
Okay. And didn't that go before damage, correct?
it's in process.
And then the city said this is just normal business or whatever.
The city tried to have it thrown out because they said there was no guarantee in the original agreement, that there was no guarantee of the quality of the water, which Gamage rolled his eyes, and through their attempt to throw it out, he said no. So we're going forward.
The court date, or is it pending?
No. I have no idea when we had another hearing. But it's
Who's
still going
representing you
forward.
guys? Who's representing you guys?
James Masters.
That's awesome. Okay. I'll check with him. Do we have any standing as the drainage board to further inquire with the city or?
It's an IDEM issue. If you're talking about water quality, it's an IDEM issue. I mean, John can reach out to IDEM and the health department, check.
What was, I thought IDEM came out there, what was there? They're just blew it off.
Well,
I really
I-
can't talk about.
yeah, she
a
can't talk
pending
about
suit.
that.
I can't discuss it.
Well, IDEM's not part of the problem. They're not part of the solution.
No,
I
when
had
that came
the-
out, what was their summation?
I haven't heard. I've requested data from IDEM on the original escape and they won't share anything. And the original investigator who was in charge of that is no longer there.
Right.
Yeah, the original investigator is no longer there.
You have his contact info or anything?
At home. I know
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Get that to me and I'll call and find out what.
We've tried to work with Jim at IDEM and, it's not happening. I had a member of his staff tell me it's political. It's like one of those, you didn't hear it from me, but this is all political.
Just give me his info and I'll follow up with him.
Brett, that original discharge pond that I referred to, that was for the ethanol plant? here?
Ethanol plant,
For the ethanol.
Yeah,
Yep.
now there's more going in it than
Yeah,
like cities runoff.
That is the whole reason for continuing the suit. The city has connected storm drain into that pond. That was
That's almost back
never-
by the wheat fields.
Be west of the.
right,
ethanol
right
plant?
west of the ethanol plant right there. That's
Back where
the,
all the marijuana fields were
yeah.
back in his day.
So does that pond, does it need maintenance in your opinion? I mean, what would,
Yes,
You know what?
I mean-
It's,
that's,
yes, but here's the thing. I mean, it's, that used to be clear. That water was all clear for years.
well,
And ever since,
and I assume, I would think that the original discharge for the ethanol plant would have been cooling water.
was,
And the contaminant of the cooling water would have been temperature, possibly that needed to cool before it discharged out or just, or maybe it was just a retention area to let it flow out down to Dixon Place at a regulated rate rather than.
I will tell you that the ethanol plant is currently releasing about 80% less water. They have changed their practices. They're going to more of a European style water conservation policy. And they will be releasing 80% of what they previously had released in terms of water. And when they go online next year with their natural gas production, they're not gonna be flushing out those tanks and sending that to the sewage plant anymore, because they're going to do another process that will produce natural gas, and they're partnering with NIPSCO to receive that gas. And they're going to be releasing very little of what they previously had done under previous ownership.
Isn't that when we came out there with all the oil and all that cloudy, and they said it was because somebody's walking cars on Western Avenue. or
Yeah,
something.
the second pollution escape after the August, 2023 was, yeah, we had a whole new scenario slick down the river. And the city's, position was that, well, somebody was changing their transmission fluid in the city and dumped it in the drain. And now we got this. And I threw up the red flag. That's nonsense, absolute nonsense. So they won't give us any answers. I mean, they will, but, I'm trying to work it through the,
Just give me that contact info and all you have, and I'll call Masters and see where there's at.
thank you.
Else,
3:30 tonight, we're doing trails in the Portage Woods if you want to come out. Dan will be there. Adjourn.
I'll second.
seconded, all in favor?
I'm going to look out and.
Okay.